Hey, it's me, Big P, and I wanted to do a video on day 3 of the league to kind of go over some of the tricks that I've done to make the VD Inquisitor Spellslinger a little smoother. Um, I kind of slow rolled. Well, let me mouse over my gear while I talk about it so you can see. I think a lot of it is the same from the last video. I haven't really changed much. But a lot of it is really just kind of balancing the mana costs and reservation costs, whatever you can get away with it. A lot of the gear is still really pretty bad and can have huge room for improvement. A lot of different things you can do. And basically just kind of winging it, throwing all the spells at the wall and just crashing into the Atlas. Got the first couple of Conquerors down, getting my Watchstones, all that good stuff. The damage is fine for there. We're working on being more consistently tanky because Scourge League is definitely one where you'll want to be, I don't know, some sort of mitigation, some sort of, the regeneration is not enough on its own. I don't think I'm kind of just throwing myself at the maps. I'm not even res cap, so that's why I'm only level 81 right now, even though I'm pushing on into yellow maps now. I'll do a, whatchamacallit, this is one of the higher map tiers I have so far, just kind of slow rolling it, the progress, but this one has less recovery rate of life and energy shield, which I think might potentially be problematic, but hopefully won't, particularly because we are, right now, Eldritch Battery. I'm using the classic combo of Eldritch Battery and Mind Over Matter, just so that I can hold down that button that my spells are on, because otherwise it's feeling really inconsistent. I really kind of, before you get those minus mana cost craft on rings, it's really difficult to kind of consistently be triggering your spells. If you don't know, if you haven't played since the update, Spellslinger, when you trigger that Spellslinger spell, the mana cost, oh wow, is taken away. You can't just get free spells anymore. Oh, we're gonna take a death on this one, aren't we? Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay. Physical damage reduction, things like that. The corrupting blood. Where is it? You know, like that's just it's been rough. That wasn't even in the Scourge mechanic itself. That was just 2 packs of porcupines and corrupting blood on a build that has literally 0 armor. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to take advantage of any of the new armor buffs because of just what colors my sockets require. It's mostly ES gear, which is fine, we're gonna see what else we can get away with. But in terms of just smoothness, the damage itself is there as long as you kind of understand the playstyle. And I've made the concession of going forward both VD and DD. Once I realized that VD on its own, it's kind of slow. It lacks the immediate punch of detonating a bunch of corpses right on where your mouse click is, because that's going to save you in Scourge, whereas VD sometimes they'll lollygag around and not really, that sucks. I bet I would have not died there. Oh, okay, well, let's get out of the Scourge first before you talk. Yeah, see, I was going to say, the Corrupting Blood I can actually sometimes tank, even with, like, no physical damage reduction, although dots aren't, armor wouldn't matter for dots anyway. But, the recovery on the build is really good. You are using the 3 Spellslinger setups that are, I think I'm using the, I'm not using Inspiration now because once you switch to Eldritch Battery, you need to spend mana in order to get Inspiration charges. So we'll probably switch into that once we get our rare gear and are able to craft minus mana cost on jewelry. I've been kind of running Betrayal to get that, and I've had no luck so far, and I was getting frustrated, but I didn't really want to slow down my Atlas progress, so I just went Eldritch Battery. Inquisitor is one of the few ascendancies that can probably get away with it. I'll go over it in more detail. I'll do a more detailed breakdown of the skill gems in the tree on this one, just for in case you haven't watched the way better guide. that Zizaran and Jungrun, then I'm not going to bother linking them because I have like fucking 300 subscribers. So if you're somehow watching this video and not watching some of the biggest PoE content creators, well, welcome, thank you. I don't know what else to say to that, but yeah, they pretty much invented, well, they didn't invent the build, you know. The fine folks at GGG invented this crazy setup. Oh, wrong hotkey. Scourge I've been liking a lot. It's really a league of willpower to not dip back in when that red juicy bar is full. Especially when it gets up to the higher stacks of corruption, especially considering I don't really have almost any of the defensive layers that I really thought I was going to at this point. It's just been kind of slash and burn gameplay. I don't really want to take forever to get my Atlas done, but let's see. I mean, see the single target after. I'll go over the gem links and other decisions you can make. Damn it, I really didn't want to die there. I was going to put a portal down. Oy, 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 oy. So yeah, not res capped. Could definitely have more life. And actually, now that we're going over it, the fact that a lot of my ES probably actually isn't being fully utilized is kind of a detriment to the build. But, you know, it's going to take time, and definitely in the Scourge mechanic, I'm going to need to get something going, some sort of max res, some sort of recovery on block, some sort of, I mean, physical damage reduction. I'm pretty much only running with the physical damage reduction from the Pantheon, and that's from standing still, 3, 6, 9. You don't really want to be standing still that much in this game in general, particularly in this league. Let's go back and fuck it. We never learn. Minus 10% XP. You know, it's Spellslinger in general, I think you have to like just kite around. But especially if you're going to do just Volatile Dead, I mean, it's the Detonate Dead really is going to be the focus of the build. And because of that, I am using Spectres, as you can see. I initially thought I would be kind of annoying to have to deal with Spectres, and it kind of is. Although your Consecrated Ground does help keep them alive sometimes, it is... Hey, come on. You know, a little annoying for them to die, but you can just join the global channel 6666, and someone will hook you up with some Spectres there. Let's see the single target. So it's really the Detonate Dead. Well, the Volatile Dead, if it pre-fires and doesn't have any ads to get distracted by, the damage is pretty good. And it is possible to kind of like miss with the Detonate Dead, as you can see there, because it will explode like around your mouse cursor or where the corpses are. I mean, that doesn't really have a choice otherwise. One more. All right, no. Okay. Let's go back in and I'll talk about... Well, I mean, why did I go Eldritch Battery? I mean, I almost want to unspec the point just to prove a point, because, you know, the whole point of a Spellslinger build, at least in my eyes, is the automation of being able to just hold down the one button and having my spells work so that I don't really have to worry about, like, a rotation of damage. I am using an Arcanist brand with Wave of Conviction and Assassin's Mark right now, but once you get your Uber Lab, I still don't have my Uber Lab yet, you'll just be ignoring all resistances, so you don't have to worry about stuff like that. And you have a little bit of socket that you can play around with. For example, the Raised Spectre, the way it works in terms of corpse life determining Detonate Dead damage, you got to think of this as like a 7th link for your 6th link of Detonate Dead. You know, there's really no getting around how strong you know, just having fat corpse life will be. You want the... It's not Primal Crush Claws anymore. These dudes are Rusty Crushers from tunnel maps in Heists. There's another one you're supposed to get, but that one died, so I only have this in my corpse pool right now. And yeah, they have big life. You ideally want the Delve ones, but that's like deep delving, which we haven't gotten to yet. I'll go over my links. We have the Detonate Dead. This is the single target setup. Slinging it in the Spellslinger with Combustion, increased critical strikes, and increased area of effect. I'm not sure if Spell Cascade is going to be better. I'm not sure, you know, crit damage It'd probably be the 6th link, but my crit isn't really set up anyway. Although this does kind of bring it up to a decent bit right now. With the flask up, what do we get? With the diamond flask, it goes up to 55, and we don't really have that much other conditional crit. But I am going to buy just an Astromentus just to get more flexibility in terms of decks on other gear. I luckily actually was able to get a lot of decks like here, and here, and here. So I didn't have to take these 230 nodes, but you're right next to those. So if you're leveling, you might as well take this. I gotta be honest, I wish I went Eldritch Battery way sooner. Like, it would have allowed me to switch fully into the corpse skills without worrying about... Let's see, let me go over the things I tried that didn't work. I went into mana and mana regeneration here, right here for Deep Thoughts. Did not feel great. I tried to get Leech on a Jewel, physical damage leeched. I don't know if you can see that right there, right above it, the 21 to 39 physical damage. That's not really leeching much. Like the leech percentage that you get on jewels is like 0.25% of physical attack damage. On a physical attack damage build, you know, that's fine. That is enough to pretty much keep you topped off, whatever. For this, where I have, where's my frenzy? 51% chance to hit with my 21%. It didn't work. Okay, you couldn't. I thought I would be, you know, do some 5-head like, oh, okay, because I'm using an attack, I can just use attack leech and that'll be okay. It wasn't. Yeah, the cost of skills, Tireless here might, if I end up being Eldritch Battery, I don't think I will, into the late game, once I get the minus mana crafts on rings and Ami, once I find ones that are worth doing it on. Like I said, my gear is crap, and I'll have a POB up, so you can see. But yeah, I don't know if I'll need this. I mean, but like life and strength is good, so maybe, you know, it is worth it. And I did go into the crit cluster here, and I might go into this one here as well if I actually don't fill out this cluster jewel, if I don't feel like investing in one, but I probably should. And I went for Corpse Life here because, yeah, Detonate Dead kind of relies on the Corpse Life. And then you have another setup for Volatile Dead. I use Conk, Spell Cascade. You would probably use Inspiration instead of Conk Effect. I thought I was going to sneeze. I still might. And then the other Spellslinger is Spell Cascade and Desecrate. I believe this one is the... Yeah, 1, 2, 3. So just with these 3, you have enough to have, I'm going to assume, a max level of Vitality. And you can fully reserve your mana and then not worry about it because you're just spending your ES. Normally, something like 50% less energy shield recharge rate would be kind of bad on a build that is sort of using ES as a defensive layer. However, we're not recharging, we're regenerating our energy shield per second here. As you can see, we have just over 900 life, which is mirrored by the energy shield with Pious Pass. So if you're really early on, as soon as you get your second lab, you can go into Eldritch Battery and then just kind of fucking go crazy with the reservations. It won't matter. Your attack will go off. All the spells will go off. It was really feeling bad when I had to have the Enduring Mana Flask up. That was pretty much the only thing that was keeping it, and I had to portal out on, like, bosses because I was just standing there just doing my fucking 82 DPS frenzy and making corpses but not exploding them. It felt miserable. So, you know, I think that's really kind of a point of the build that you need to reach where you're, you know, consistently doing your spells, obviously. It sounds obvious, but, yeah. Of course, you kind of get to do slightly... This is like budget Corrupted Soul. You'd probably put the Corrupted Soul here to take Zealot's Oath. Well, you wouldn't take Zealot's Oath, you would take the Corrupted Soul to gain a bunch of life as extra ES. But that'll come later with gear and investments and stuff. Let's see what else. Let me finish going over the links. Yeah, Desecrate, Flame Dash. Might want to use Arcane. I mean, you can't use Arcane Surge now if you're Eldritch Battery, because again, you need to spend mana to proc that, so don't worry about that. Vitality, I've been lazy about replacing the shield, which I want to be armor. I mean, I'm just really dying for red sockets anyway. I've decided only on, I would use Herald of Ash, although this, I don't know if that, you don't really need damage auras when you're just shitting out so many spells and your spells are relying on like Spectre Corpse Life to do a majority of the damage. So you can just go for defensive stuff. I want to fit a Stone Golem in somewhere, maybe on a cast when damage taken with a Steel Skin or a Molten Shell, something like that. And then you have Frenzy, Barrage, faster attacks, and Power Charge on critical, which is pretty consistent. Getting the Power Charges up, I guess that's some conditional crit that I could get. And then what else? Yeah, Flats are just figuring it all out, you know. I like phasing. This is a phasing Flats league like most leagues because, goddamn, you can get really crowded and jumped on in those Scourges or a crit build. And I'm loving the buffs to the Silver and Quicksilver flasks because they just, it kind of feels like the old flasks now where they last long enough for it to be relevant. Don't pay attention to any of the modifiers on that. But yeah, I mean, basically the whole video was just to show that, hey, the build's still coming together defensively. As you can see, I took 2 big deaths there that were kind of stupid. And the damage is okay. I'm still leveling the gems. We're just going to figure out, you know, what we can do before then. Until then, I assume this can go up probably to about tier 10 maps. The last bit will take some investment, either in terms of damage. Like, when did I find this wand? Yeah, I found this wand at, like, what, like, act like fucking, like, 6 or 7. And just the plus the level of fire skill gems is amazing. I wonder if I could, like, throw, like, a fire burst essence at, like, a wand and maybe get, like, just another big burst of damage, but I'm not really so sure about that. Shield, there's so much good stuff on shields that I kind of want to hold off on just buying a shitty one. I kind of maybe want to invest a bunch in shield. I may even end up going into Glancing Blows and Sanctuary and Arcane Guarding up here. Probably can't dip down into Mystic Bulwark, but maybe I can do like an Intuitive Leap and get like some cool shit here, but that might not be worth it. And I mean, worst comes to worst, I kind of want to like just roll Blade Vortex. I feel like Blade Vortex might be good this league. And I'll just do some like weird shit where I do like all the Heralds and Hatred, whatever I can fit in, you know, go for like the weird shit here. Just because this feels like a good league for Blade Vortex, you know? It's just like, hey, I have a bunch of blades and I'm running around and I'm going back and forth between the 2 dimensions. I have just a bunch of fucking blades on me that are doing a bunch of damage. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling now. What else did I want to go over? I mean, that's pretty much it. The whole video, I mean, is basically just me telling you if you're having mana issues, go Eldritch Battery, Mind Over Matter. You can help, even if you're not running Vitality. You know, it's you just have, because of the Pious Path and just a bit of the regen on tree, I think here, and it's pretty much just that. Just that and Pious Path are enough so that it just shoots back up. I mean, you can see the ES right here. I mean, it's not even an issue. Of course, that does mean that you don't have that much mitigating your actual damage. So, you know, especially you'll notice it when you have 0 armor and are not res capped, but that's coming with time. So thanks for watching. As far as streaming goes, I kind of don't really have much of an interest in doing like long sessions, and like that's kind of what you have to do for streaming. I've been taking a lot of like short breaks and stuff because I mean, now that I'm in maps, it's like, you know, you run a map or 2 and then I go for like stretch or do something else. I go touch grass, you know, like they tell me to. So it'd probably be more consistent to come here. I still will stream for like a couple hours here and there, so like hit the bell or whatever notifications if you want to catch me there. I'll be pushing this probably the rest of the week. Probably respecing into one of 2 options by the start of next week, and I think maybe next weekend that'll be like a you know, I'll try and stream more on the weekends so like more people can watch if you want to see new builds come together. I'm torn between either Elemental Hit Ascendant or Spectral Helix Berserker, maybe Champion. I know a lot of people are doing that, and I love Spectral Helix last league, and I only did it on like a SSF Raider, and it was still just like shredding through stuff. So I can imagine if I can invest in a trade league here, it's probably going to be pretty solid. But yeah, other than that, build's coming along, kind of just slow rolling it because we will be playing this league into next year. I'm liking the league a lot. I'm going to do a video on like tips and tricks into min-maxing the league. I haven't had that much success with it, but I kind of feel like I have a good understanding of how to actually apply it in you know, game to see. But anyway, thanks for watching, like and sub and all that stuff. Go follow me on Twitter. But I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.